Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Book It, Vince, the Wrestling Dream Match podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Martin Bennett, and with me, as always, is Captain Charisma, Anthony Hall.
Captain Charisma is I
thought
know
this was
one.
Gonna be a softball this week.
I know this one. It's Christian.
Yes, it's Christian.
Yes.
Every week, I introduce Anthony in a different way to try to see if he can guess wrestling nicknames. Sometimes they're difficult, sometimes they're easy, and sometimes I still can't get them.
Yes, I'm always terrible at getting them. So that's one consistent thing that happens on the pod every week.
That's all right. Anthony, we have a special episode this week because it's a little bit different. Right. We've had some awesome guests in the past, but this time we have a different type of guest who is here to talk to us about fun new products within the wrestling world for collectors and other fans out there. From Upper Deck Sports, we have Billy Celio here to talk to us about the AEW trading cards. Welcome, Billy.
Oh, there's not an applause. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not live, unfortunately. Although I think if it was live every single week, we'd start getting boos for some of our bad jokes.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. How's it going, guys? Great to be here.
No, thank you very much,
thank
Billy,
you for joining us.
Yes. So before we jump in to start talking to Billy about the AEW trading cards and everything, housekeeping, of course, if you enjoy what we do here at Book It Vince, please consider following the podcast on whatever platform you get your podcasts on. Come watch the video version on YouTube. And also for the month of February, we are still going to have our charity fundraiser link open for donations. At the end of January, we did a 24-hour charity stream raising money for F cancer. We raised over $2,700, which was incredible and amazing. And that link is still going to be live for people to do post donations. They'll go directly to F cancer. So go check that out if you want to donate to a great cause. But yeah, so AEW trading cards. We are big fans. That's the first thing I'll say is that we are very much big fans. What is your position and role at Upper Deck specifically?
All right. So I'm one of the senior product managers at Upper Deck. So basically my job is to kind of build the skeleton for the sets that I build. And what I mean is I figure out how big the checklist is going to be, what type of people are going to be in there, what type of paper we use for the cards, what are the inserts going to be, are there going to be autographs, the stuff's going to be hard signed, is it going to be memorabilia, are we going to print stuff on metal, are we going to put diamonds in cards, are we get all that sort of stuff. I have to kind of come up with a set, what's the price, I'm kind of given a price point, but trying to figure out what value are people getting out of each pack of cards. So I kind of put all that stuff together. And then after I kind of get an approval from my boss, I'll send it off to our finance department. I fill out a costing form and they come back with, here's the margin, here's, what we're making and everything. And if it meets our standards, then, then I do I do this brief where I write a 20 to 40 page paper where every single form of cards and insert and everything, I have to give a detailed description. And in this meeting, I draw stick figures. I don't design cards,
right.
So we've got our head design person. We've got our pre-press people who are in charge of all the layouts. We have our coordinator who, they'll know in detail all the wrestlers or hockey players or basketball players, they know their job is to know who these people are, even the superstars down to the jobbers. They know who these people are. So they do the checklist. I have my legal department who makes sure like all my insert names that I use, we can use, because we can't like copy names or inserts of maybe other card sets or, even companies.
Is there with that, is there specific ones that so I will admit, going into starting to collect the AEW trading cards, never really collected any sports cards. I'm more of like a gaming, like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh collector. Is the insert types and names specific to AEW, or is it common throughout Upper Deck?
A little bit of both. Bit of both. So we have our, like, one of the inserts in the set is our canvas insert, which is actually an insert that we use in hockey, and it's a no-brainer to use that in a wrestling set because they wrestle on the canvas. So that's one that came from sports. Now, we don't have in our hockey or other sets an insert called Top Rope. Whoa, my light went off there. All right. So that's specific to wrestling. And what's funny is, we might go into it later, but we've actually built 5 sets so far for the
you mentioned that to me
total.
In our conversations, and I was blown away by that.
And it's funny because I'm getting feedback from some of the insert names, and they're kind of like, we understand what you're talking about, and the diehards will understand, but this is also for the common fan. Like I had an insert, and I can probably mention it because it's not going in there, but I called it Mark Merch, and it was like it's like a t-shirt with the logos and stuff on it. He's like, yeah, we don't really, we don't like to call people marks and stuff. And I'm just like, marks know they're marks, and
we do.
It's almost like a badge of honor sometimes, but I understand what they're saying. And so like there'll be insert names that, I got a little too clever because it's just like, I kind of, know a few things here and there, and I overthought it. So, they are wrestling themed, and we do even try to, like, we had the Roads to Success, which was specific to Cody Rhodes. What would have been really cool, but we have an insert in our hockey cards called Young Guns, and it's the rookie cards. And I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if we did the Young Gun designs, but call it Young Bucks, and did an insert just on the Young Bucks? But we kind of tried to protect those Young Gun designs. So that got shot down pretty quickly, and I understand why, but I'm like, that would have been something kind of cool also.
That's cool.
We focus on a little bit of both.
Nice. I guess one of my first questions really is we talked on the phone a bit before we were planning this, when to record and everything. And you had mentioned to me that, you are a big wrestling fan, and that you were actually trying to get Upper Deck to do something wrestling related, but had no expectation that it would end up being AEW.
Yeah. I've wanted to do I collected wrestling cards. I wanted to do a wrestling set for a long time. I even joked, I'm like, let's get the Glow license, is anybody doing that? And I was just the TV show, because that was popular a few years ago. And I was like, let's try for that. And we're always looking for new licenses. And we had something going on with potentially another licensor, which ended up turning into AEW. And when we had the opportunity to get AEW, we jumped on it. We saw the potential, and I'll tell you what, AEW has just been an amazing license to work with. Like they get it. They promote. I don't see a lot of like promotion of cards the way that they've done it on their show. Like when we put out the Punk preview card, it was just like I was telling our brand manager, I go, I think I'm pretty sure Punk's going to be debuting tomorrow. I go, we should do a card. And he got on the phone immediately, and we had a card ready the next day, and AEW was like ready to, like, they were putting it on their show.
Yeah,
and
they were.
The fact that they were able to turn that around, and that's advertisement. People pay for that kind of advertisement, and they just put it out there. And yes, it does help it helps their brand, but they're doing that for us for free.
Yeah, no, it was for Punk Brian and Cole. Those preview cards were like, I thought such a great idea of right as after they all debuted, it was, to get you excited. And there had been talks about the set. And I don't know if it had been delayed or anything like that. It kind of felt like that from the outside. But at the same time, like, it just got us more excited for what was eventually coming in the future. Anthony, do you have any?
Yeah, we immediately ordered them. So we have sets of Brian and Cole and Punk. So that was like something that got us really, really excited, especially when we first heard that AEW was getting cards. We're like, oh man, we got to get in right from the ground floor and get those first edition cards, because like who knows where they could go and how they could develop over the years, especially seeing how sports cards have kind of come back in a big way with like just social media. And we're seeing like TikTok box breaks, we're seeing YouTube videos, we're seeing stuff on Twitter go crazy, and the value of cards is soaring like insane. But what I wanted to ask is, how did you get started with collecting cards and your position at Upper Deck? And also, we love your sweater that you're wearing. It's a Letterkenny sweater. You're on a Canadian podcast representing a wonderful Canadian show that is littered with wrestling references because Squirrely Dan, K-Trev, shout out to K-Trev. He loves wrestling, and they try their best to make those references in the beginning of the show. So that is so awesome.
Well, the sad thing is I was supposed to I flew to Michigan this weekend. I have family out here, but I was supposed to go to the Kalamazoo show today. And it got postponed. So I still came into town to see my family, and they got postponed till May. So I'll be back in May, and I'll be wearing I'll probably have the same. So I actually bought Trevor's t-shirt, one of his t-shirts that he just posted online. I love it. I actually have a set waiting for him. I put a set together. So if I do like see him or whatever, I was going to give him one of our AEW sets because I know he's such a big fan.
Oh, that's amazing.
I started collecting very young age. I was probably 6 or 7, and someone asked me this before, and I think I bought like a pack of cards because I wanted to get a Don Mattingly rookie card, and then I started collecting like Return of the Jedi cards and Raiders of the Lost Ark, like one of the Indiana Jones movies. I think it was Temple of Doom. Started collecting those. And then just started collecting baseball cards and football, like just everything. And it was something that I did because it was a way for my dad and I to do something together.
That's awesome.
I wasn't the greatest child growing up. I was probably a headache for them because my sister was perfect and never got into trouble, and I would get into trouble here and there. So it was kind of a way for us to get along while looking at cards. And he collected the old stuff, I collected the new stuff, but we did card shows, and I went on to college, and then after college I kind of got back into it, and it's kind of who I one of my friends from college, she was with one of the guys that worked at Upper Deck, and we just started talking and hit it off, and then he's just like, you should apply for a job here. Like, you seem to know cards, you seem to know markets and stuff. And next thing I know, I'm interviewing, and I got the job, and I've been there for about 8 years now.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Billy, what was the first set that you worked on with Upper Deck?
The first set I built was No Pressure. It was Team Canada Juniors, 2014. And it was Connor McDavid's first Upper Deck card. Is his 2014 Team Canada Juniors. So my first year of building cards was actually Connor McDavid's like rookie year, like because Team Canada Juniors kind of came out first, and then like all of his like the 15-16 sets. I had a lot of help with my boss. He kind of mentored me and taught me stuff, but. Yeah, I had at one point we hand packed the cup, and I have a picture of us standing next to all the Connor McDavid rookie auto patches, just all spread out by number. And I'm sitting there thinking after like seeing some of the prices of these cards, like I have a picture of me just standing in front of millions of dollars worth of cards, just
Crazy.
right there of one player.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so cool though. Diving in deep right from the get-go, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
So I'm very curious. When we were talking on the phone, when we were planning all this stuff, and we were talking about being wrestling fans and all that sort of stuff, you had told me you gave me a little bit of taste of your WWE / wrestling like mark past and your adventures of going to shows and getting autographs and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just curious, what is such a fond memory of you of like going to wrestling shows and being a fan in like kind of the heyday of like the early 2000s?
Well, we went to a couple shows that really stand out. One was my first ECW match that I went to at the Lansing Civic Center. And I tell the story, and the guy that picked me up from the airport here, I was joking, I'm like, I've been telling this story to everybody. And we still just laugh about it. He's like, oh, when Jeff got tossed by the security guard, I'm like, yup. We were like second row, and it was Sabu versus Bubba Ray. And they went over the barricade. And when they went over the barricade, the security just cleared out like the front row and part of the second row. And the guy, my friend next to me, just got like leveled by the security, like to get pushed out of the way. And I'm just standing there. And so I have like my disposable camera, and I'm like winding it and just taking pictures of Sabu like lying on the ground and Bubba Ray. And this is cool. And then the same poor friend later on in the match, after he was like, you know how sometimes things get thrown at the old ECW matches. He got pegged with a roll of quarters too. And I was like, at least I'm like, well, at least you got $10 out of it. He goes, no, I didn't. He goes, the guy next to me picked it up and took the roll of quarters after he got hit with it. And I was just like, well, sorry, buddy.
It's amazing.
And then we went to we did go to a WWE show. I've been to a few locally before I started going to like the SummerSlam when I lived in Los Angeles and stuff. And, there's taped segments. And so we're sitting outside the Breslin Center, Michigan State's basketball stadium, and they had a show there. And we're watching, who was it? It was Booker T. It was Harlem Heat, them trying to open up a car door. Like it was locked. And so they're trying to tape this and nobody could get the door open. And we're just kind of like watching, like, this is hilarious. And then we went in and I found out that Sacco's birthday because it was my birthday that we went. Sacco has the same birthday as I do. So I was kind of like happy about that.
Cool.
Not that that's anything to brag about, but they celebrated
awesome.
Sacco's birthday and that was on mine. But, I've done, when I moved to LA, my roommate was a huge wrestling fan. And that's what kind of got me back into it after the Attitude Era. He had the encyclopedia, and his goal was to try to get as many autographs in the encyclopedia that he could.
That's crazy.
We would go to all the events. So we would go to Access for SummerSlam, and we had the system down. Like it was me and him. You weren't supposed to take pictures, but like when he was doing it, we'd be like, hey. And then they'd like look up and he'd get the picture, and then he'd like slowly go down the line when he was done, and he would do the same thing for me. Yeah. So I got like a bunch of pictures that way. But the coolest thing was his old roommate, the guy whose spot I took, worked at the Staples Center. And so we got to be seat fillers for SummerSlam for like 3 years in a row. And we never moved. We sat down in like the first 20 rows and we got to just sit there and watch the whole thing. And it was so much fun because I'm used to sitting up in the rafters when I go to these events. So, to sit on those actual padded chairs and see Maria Menounos or whatever there and other like kind of celebrities at the events was kind of fun.
Anthony's been a seat filler before.
Yeah, that's nice. Right. The last time that SummerSlam was in Toronto, a friend of ours just like put out a big message into a bunch of comedian group chats for wrestling and was like, hey, we need guys to come down for all of the shows on SummerSlam weekend. So I got to go to Raw and SmackDown and of course SummerSlam. That was the SummerSlam that Bray Wyatt debuted the Fiend gimmick. So he was like walking down the Titantron with his like lantern that had his head from his old gimmick, and the mask and the music was like remixed, and it was so crazy. And I think like that is going to be like one of my favorite wrestling memories. It's just like everybody was silent and just so fixated on the entrance, and it was so cool. We only had to move around a few times, but by the night we had to watch SmackDown, I had lost my voice already. It was like I was just yelling the entire time, and the producer for all the seat fillers was like, hey, like, you guys, when the faces come out, you gotta cheer, and when the heels come out, you gotta boo, and buy a t-shirt, you know, you gotta be really in there and active. And I was like, all right, like let's do it.
I mean,
like,
I'd be doing that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. Billy, do you have like a holy grail like item that like still from your like childhood collecting days or like young adult collecting days? Is there an item that you have that like it will forever be something that you keep, you never want to sell, or maybe you already have sold it? I don't know.
For wrestling?
Just for anything, honestly. Oh. If you want to make it wrestling specific, or if there's something hockey or football or whatever.
I've got like I was saying, I collect autographs, and it took about 2 years to complete. But I have a full Breaking Bad cast piece that's signed by everybody. Signed by everybody. And the funny thing is, one of the nicest people was the last one, and it took an extra year just to get Jonathan Banks. And I'm at the SAG Awards, and he I'm just like, I got to get this guy. You know, we're at the barricade, and they're like, when they leave, like the after party from the SAG Awards, it was at the Shrine Auditorium. And I see him, and I'm like, Jonathan, can you please sign? And he's just like, your mother. And I'm like, no. I go, you're the last one I need, please. He's like, I can't. There's cops there. They won't let me cross the street. I go, no, the cops are there to help you cross the street. Come on over. and he was going to come over, but he was just razzing us. So he finally comes over, and he's like, all right. He's like, I'm only signing one, because there's a lot of guys that have like stacks of photos. He's like, I'm only signing one. I'm like, great. Sign right here, and I'm done. He signs it. And so I've and the thing is, it's like they all signed in the perfect spot. They all, it's gorgeous. You know, I've got some fun wrestling stuff. I've got some Alexa Bliss cards that I like. You know, I joke, like one time I just brought a stack. I bring just a bunch of cards, and Nia Jackson knocked out 17 cards for me in about like a minute. I was just, she's like, when are you done? I go, I'm done when you're done. Like, you can stop whenever you want. You can stop whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's just like, I'll sign 2 more. And then she's done. And I was just like,
that's awesome.
I go, you now have the record. I go, Alexa had the record at 12. I go, you now have the record at 17. She's like, all right, good.
That's really cool. No, you told me on the phone before, like you would go to like a hobby store and just pick up cards and like to a show that you're going, and like try to grab ones that of people that you know are going to be there, and the hopes like, oh, you know, even if you pull like a base card or something, then take that to the show and maybe you'll get signed or something. And I really love that idea.
That was one of the important things when I built this set, when I'm looking at the designs, is I know what people, I mean, yes, you have your PC guys that just collect the cards, but I know there's people out there that like to get these cards signed. And so I wanted to make sure that the design and the pictures and stuff were able, like, you can sign the bottom of the card. There's a space on all the cards. Now it does have the UV, so you make sure you kind of rub it down, but they have like the canvas cards are really beautiful to sign. Like those, you don't have a problem with those. But I wanted, and then the main features insert was another insert that I specifically made of some of the top wrestlers and stuff that you could get those cards signed too. Like that was definitely in mind when we're looking at the designs for these cards is, can they get autographed?
It's also cool because like a lot of the people that have cards made, especially in this first set, are people who, you know, were indie people and never really had like a real trading card. Like I know that there's a lot of like indie sort of, I don't know if you call them bootleg ones that like they never agreed to or whatever or stuff like that. But like these are like their first real trading card. And so of course they're going to love to sign them as well, because it's something new and exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already starting to see on a lot of the line groups and the forums and stuff and Facebook pages, I'm starting to see some of these cards now signed by people. Someone just got something from through the mail. Like they mailed something to one of the wrestlers and they got it back. And I think, I think Darby Allin just did some sort of appearance, and I've seen a bunch of pictures from that, like the last day or two, and people had got him to sign the cards also.
I think it was Colt Cabana who put out there saying, if you pull any Colt Cabana cards, like send it to me and I'll sign them. I think so. I don't remember.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, no, it's really exciting. I know that for us, we haven't been able to pull a signature card yet, sadly.
We're waiting. We have been cracking packs trying to get that autograph. We've got some really, really amazing cards, but when we get that autograph first edition, it's going to be a real great time for us.
I hope it's not like you get the referee or something like that. I'll be like, oh.
But I guess is something to talk about this first set. What excited you most about, like, obviously you said you've created like plans for 5 sets now, and I've already seen like behind the scenes footage from like Ethan Page's vlog and some other people's vlogs and stuff of like them doing their autographs and like getting ready for these next sets. What was it about the first set that like you needed to make sure you nailed, that need to make sure was in this first set? What to save for the next set? Like, because there's so many wrestlers and there's only so many cards that you can have for a set.
Yeah. So like the next set, I think we just released the solicitation for it, is the Spectrum. That'll have some guys that weren't in the first set,
right.
And vice versa. But, you know, and then the other sets down the road we've had more time now, more wrestlers have come. And as I said, AEW has done a great job with providing us with assets, and we get, you know, the signings with the wrestlers and everything. So, you know, we'll do our best to keep everything up to date. Now, like you had mentioned, unfortunately, this first set did get delayed. Vendors right now are just swamped. You know, all these, like you said, the card markets is booming right now, and companies are printing, and COVID kind of put a damper on things because some of these vendors had to shut down for a couple weeks at a time. And then there's just a huge backlog, and you're seeing it in all the sports. You're seeing it from all the manufacturers. And unfortunately, like, we would have loved that set to have come out earlier, but you know, it didn't. So, you know, I wouldn't say that's why we made some of those preview cards. And then we thought the set was going to come out. So we kind of stopped making the preview cards because we're anticipating the set. Like, I thought maybe it would have been cool to do a Ruby Soho, you know, card, but it was just, you know, we thought the set was coming out. So I will say one of the cool things that we'll have also is kind of like, we have this thing called game dated moments with our sports. So we'll have like current like pay-per-view cards that we'll print to order. And, you know, they could be rare. They could be tens of thousands of them, depending on how many people order the cards. But we are going to try to kind of keep up to date using our game dated moments on our EPAC site. But, you know, I will say, like, AEW for this first set, they were actually the ones that came up with the idea to put first edition on it, which I after thinking about it for like 2 seconds. So it was like, that's a great idea. As I said, they're pretty involved with the process. They have to, approve everything before we put it out. We just can't like make wrestling cards. And there'll be times where they'll say, hey, can you use, Darby Allin's new face paint on this card? Like, this is a little outdated, or can you do, they're very, they'll look at the pictures and they'll say, can you change this up? Or they have a new costume now or a new gimmick.
We've noticed a few things where it's like, I mean, wrestling business moves so quickly. Like things change, like, well, I mean, WWE this past year, things change so quickly. So like, there's things like, I guess that's kind of like maybe too inside of a question, but like things like, with little small things I've noticed, like all the Britt Baker cards are like Britt when she was kind of a face before there are some heel ones, but there are like some face promo cards and stuff. And it's like, or I guess the big one is that like Big Swole is no longer with the company, but she has her card. Is it tricky to have like these plans for these sets and then see something change and be like, oh, do we keep that in there? Do we pull that back? Like, is there a struggle with how the wrestling business changes so quickly? Or is it more, well, we should keep it because, that happened. We can't ignore that someone was with the company and is no longer with them.
Here's the struggle is it takes about 9 to 11 months to build these sets. Cause if they were hard signed sets, it would take even longer. It might take about 12 months. Now, like that checklist isn't made on day one of the 9 months. The checklist is made down the road, but then they have to get photos. It takes time for the color correction on all the photos. Cause Upper Deck is known for their photography. So, we want the pictures to look nice, and then it takes some time. So I would say maybe halfway through that process, that's when the photos and everything are starting to come up. And we might leave a few blanks for potential guys that are coming in. Like I think we had a blank and we're able to, get Sting in there. I think the last person that was added, I believe, was Miro. He was one of the last ones for that checklist. So if you want to know a time frame of when, the checklist and everything was made to that, Miro was the last guy, I believe, that was in that checklist.
Interesting.
So it is difficult. Yes. And here's the other thing is, so that base set of cards is printed on this big, we call it 100 up form. It's printed on a big form and there's 100 cards on it. And it goes to the machine and the machine cuts it. And there's two types of way of cutting a card. There's one way where it just smashes down on all the, that's called a guillotine cut. And it like just cuts everything and all the cards are in a stack. And that's what you do and then you can take that stack of cards and then get them foil number them or put autographs on them. So that's a lot more expensive to do it that way than what it's called a slipstream cut, where it just kind of cuts and sorts the cards and goes and cuts and sorts the cards and goes.
Okay.
So it would be tough from a costing standpoint to cut those base cards because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of those cards to cut it as the guillotine cut. So, you saw it with, Adam Cole had a few cards out this year, but he only has one AEW card out and he hasn't been with the other program in quite some time. It's because like these cards were made, they probably were waiting to get printed, and unfortunately, it's going to happen. It's been very minimal in our first set, but we know down the road contracts are going to end. People are going to go someplace else. Maybe AEW wasn't what they wanted, and now they want to go do family stuff or make movies or something like that. So we know down the road that it's probably going to be a little more difficult, but there might be inserts, like I was saying, that we can kind of cut it a certain way and the numbered sets or whatever, and then we can kind of remove some people. But for the most part, it's a tough thing to do, and our competitors, as you saw, had a difficult time, and we probably down the road will have a difficult time with wrestlers coming and going. We just haven't had to deal with it yet because it's brand new.
Yeah. Anthony, do you have any questions?
So I think you referenced it briefly. We have seen some marketing and promotional materials for the AEW Spectrum set. Is there a particular subset within that collection that you are particularly proud of or really, really excited for collectors and people to get to see, if you can talk about it?
The insert that I'm most excited about, it's called Chair Shots. And it's a metal card. It's a metal card in the shape of a chair. So it's got rounded, and it looks like one of those chairs, like a folded chair that you would get at sitting in the first 10 rows or however many rows it is at one of the matches. And it has like the wrestler's face on it and a big old Chair Shots call out. But I got to actually have them in hand, and I was just like, these are going to be sick. Spectrum has stuff that has not been done for wrestling cards yet. It's got the metal cards. It's got the diamond cards in there for the Diamond Battle Royale.
I saw that one, yeah.
Which I'm pretty excited about. And those haven't been done in wrestling cards. Topps beat me to turnbuckles. I was so excited because we got turnbuckles from AEW, and I thought I was gonna get to make the first turnbuckle card, but they did that. But we have an array we have banners and Matt Curtin and Barricade banners or covers and all that. They get in tables and sticks and all that. They load us up with stuff, and we cards. So, but the metal cards, they look really good. I'm pretty excited about it. I think the collectors will love it.
I'm really excited for the metal cards. I saw that announcement.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Because I've been following the Upper Deck socials very closely because you guys retweet and share anybody who posts really awesome cards and stuff, and the printing plates. The printing plates have been so cool to see, and I thought that was such a great idea. Because it's that one of a kind, and you find that it's like, that's just money. It's just such a cool thing. So I love that. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to see what the next set brings. And even just the new products, we have not been able to find blasters yet, but seeing, I don't know if it's just a Canadian thing, maybe, but seeing a lot of people getting to open them and everything, and that's really exciting. I enjoy getting to see people open and their excitement for it, which is really, really cool. I guess one of the last questions that we'll ask about the AEW card specifically, I guess would just be, for me, I'm curious about, what from this first set, or what was something from this first set that you really wanted to push forward? And was there any goals that you are really excited that you got to hit, especially as a fan? And things that you don't have to talk about what you hope for the future, obviously spoiling future sets, but why is this really exciting, especially for a brand new wrestling company? I mean, not new anymore, but newer, a new set, new cards, all that sort of stuff. What were you excited about that you're now so proud of?
So I didn't work for Upper Deck in 1989 when they first came out, and they broke the mold of trading cards. They really did. They had this crazy, this paper, this hologram thing on the back, and all this. It was something different. And packs were, different. It wasn't like 25 cents. You paid a couple bucks to get these cards, and it felt like you were getting something nicer. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little skeptical and afraid to technically break the mold, break the cookie cutter of what people are expecting from a box of wrestling cards. You buy a box of wrestling cards, hobby box, you're usually expecting to get an autograph and some sort of matte relic or memorabilia. You're going to get, pretty close to a base set. There's going to be, maybe one or two insert like sets that you kind of can go after, and that's it. And it was really our higher ups there just like, you know what, we want to bring back the value of autographs. We want to bring back the value of memorabilia, because a lot of these, if you're getting an autograph box and it's the same, I don't want to say it's kind of like the same signers set after set after set. They mix it up. There's new people that come and people that leave, and they do a good job of finding that new like legend that can help drive sales. But it's just, there are elite wrestlers whose autographs can go for like $5, $10, and it just doesn't make sense. So, when people saw our solicitation and saw that you only get an autograph one every 4 boxes, I was on the forums. I read what people were saying, and they were blasting us. They're like, "Why are you doing this? It's already been put out there for you how to do this." Well, Upper Deck doesn't necessarily follow everybody else's rules of how they make cards. And so to be able to kind of say, I was one of the people that, I was I'm not the only one but to kind of start that new trend of what wrestling cards can be is kind of cool. And, you're seeing, man, I saw like a top 10 sales for autographs, and they're like the lowest one was like $700, and there were a couple that sold for like a couple $1,000 or $1,500 or something. That's just amazing. And their sticker autographs, which was what we had to do for this set, and we're trying to find ways to get hard signed content into the products, and you might see some of that in the future. But the fact, and this isn't undisputed. This isn't like was it they don't do Transcendent. What's the big one where you get the ticket to WrestleMania and all that other stuff? It's not that, where these cards are like numbered super low. Like some of them are numbered, but some of these are just regular cards with the autographs, and the consumers have loved it. And you're seeing value again on wrestling cards, and that's great to see.
We did a stream on our Twitch channel of opening our first box, and we were so excited just to see because we had seen pictures and everything. We were just excited to see the different types, what they look like, what the pictures look like, what they feel like. That video should be up before this podcast comes out. And in our first pack was our big hit. Like, it was kind of, we just opened up the box. We didn't shuffle the packs. We didn't do anything. I pulled out the first pack. I opened it, and it had green main features of Sting. It had fireworks hollow. I forget of which one, and it had a Ortiz memorabilia. And we were just like, this is insane. Yeah. Like, we were just blown away.
Pack like this? I was like, it can't be like this. There's no way.
It was just the fact that we opened it and we're like, this feels like a lot heavy in this. And then I just looked at I saw the side profile. I was like, we got a memorabilia. That's what? And then it was just fun getting to see all the other stuff. And like, even, maybe to some people, like higher end collectors who, aren't, they're looking for the big hits, but like even the fireworks hollows, like we have 2, I think it's only 2. I have them right here, actually. Yeah, we have a Darby and a Sammy magazine of Dynamite. Sorry, Dynamite hollow, the red ones. And we saw those and we're like, this is so cool. They look so like it's really crisp. And we were just so excited about like all the different looks and all the different types and everything. And even like just seeing the base set all together, it just all looks so clean. So we really think that you guys knocked it out of the park with this first set, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot of simple technology that just hasn't been used for wrestling cards, and I never understood why. And like you were saying, the pyros and the dynamites, those were, really cool patterns. And then, we have shadow box cards in there. I don't know if you pulled one of those, the Wednesday in action.
One day.
No, not yet.
Those, I mean, I've never seen a shadow box card in a wrestling product. So we just wanted to bring some new technology and just spice it up a bit, because I think it's been getting a little stale, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
and then even having numbered cards feels really, because I've then started following through our accounts people who are specifically collecting this or are wrestling card collectors altogether, and seeing then people who are like gravitating towards it in the same way that they would sports cards, where it's like you find your favorites and you want to collect all of your favorite wrestler, whether it's Jungle Boy, whether it's Cody, whether it's Chris Statlander, like finding your favorites and picking them out specifically, or just excited that you're getting a card. Like in our second box that we opened, we got a 2 out of 10 high gloss tag team card.
Nice.
And we at first we were like, oh, cool. Oh, wow. This is really cool. And then the closer we looked at it, we're like, this is 2 of 10. That's crazy to think about. There's only 10 of these cards.
Yeah.
But I've said this on our streams and in our openings. I think what also is really exciting about this is, like, I'm very used to Pokemon, where it's like, it's 10 cards. Only one of them is going to matter in retrospect, because it's all commons, uncommons, but then there's a rare, and that rare could be just a regular holo, or it could be a crazy alt art secret rare that is like a 1 in 2,000, 3,000 chance to pull. But in these packs, you could get anything. And that's what makes it just so exciting to open, is like, yeah, there might be a pack where you get mostly base and then a gold parallel, and then maybe like a something more exciting, or like a canvas or a Rhodes or a top rope. But then you could get a god pack, and that's just the ultimate feeling. It's so fun. But yeah, we were, I do have one quick question before we move on to talking about some dream matches and stuff like that. I am a regular viewer of Ethan Page's vlog, and there was a behind the scenes on one of his vlogs where him and a bunch of other wrestlers were doing autograph signings, signing stickers for the trading cards. And what him and I believe Dante Martin did was they made one specific signature different than all the others. And I think they had like a star or something to it to make like one unique. I don't know if you know anything about this, but I was curious when I saw that, and then seeing the cards come out, would they, through quality control, see that and then go, we're not going to use that one because it's different than all the others? Or would that be able to go through, and then that's like a super special autograph that is one of a kind?
No, it would, as long as it looks like his name, that'd be fine. Like we have a Chasing Amy set that hopefully will come out someday. We've been sitting on it for a while, but we got Ben Affleck to sign for it. And if you look at all, it's like 10 different signatures. They actually they sent me pictures of it, and they're like, Billy, can we use these? I go, yeah. I go, he has like his really nice signature. He has this B signature. He has, his B, he has a bunch, and he's just going down and signing stuff. And a little star or something like that. That's, I mean, as long it's not, he's drawing like inappropriate stuff on there, or inappropriate words. Yeah, we'll definitely use it. And
that's really cool.
Maybe it's like that. Maybe it's like that Taylor Swift CD that someone wrote lyrics on or whatever, and then sells for like $10,000 or however much on eBay or whatever.
You never know. No, like speaking on that, I know on like the Major Wrestling Figure podcast with Myers and Cardona, they've talked about trying to get signatures from people, and there's some people who just never do the same signature twice. And it's really hard for the fig collectors because they're trying to get these perfectly packaged figures, and it's trying to suss out if someone has a real signature from like The Rock or someone else, and it's like you can't tell because they're all different.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Billy, who has the prettiest signature in AEW that you've seen thus far?
That's a good one.
The prettiest
auto. Yeah. From a collector's standpoint, when you look at it, you're like, ooh, that's a nice one.
I haven't gotten to see many of them. I mean, Britt signed her full name and then put a little tagline on there too, which was nice. I don't know if you've seen the video, but a hook, it says H-O-O. Yep. Okay. I'm like, well, good job there. I know there's some guys that, it's unfortunate. Like some of these older athletes and whatnot, they sign gorgeous, Stone Cold Steve Austin has an amazing signature. If you get like his full signature.
I've never seen it. That's really cool. I'm going to have to look that up.
And, it's a lot of these recently, because they're having to sign so much stuff. Sometimes they just get down to the initials, and it's a bummer, but it's still signed by them. But unfortunately, I wasn't there for any of the signings. I don't get to do the fun stuff. So I haven't, the ones I've seen are basically the ones you've seen online also. So, but I have seen Britt Baker's, because whenever anyone gets one, they post it up, and she's got a nice one. It's not super girly or anything like that, but it's a full Britt Baker, on there. So that's always nice. No,
they're really, really, really cool. I'm hopeful that we can pull one. When we do, we'll be going crazy for sure.
Yeah. When we get those blasters, we're gonna rip a bunch on stream, and
for sure.
I hope we get one.
So normally on the podcast, we do dream matches. And instead of doing a full dream booking for this episode, because you are a fan, we figured let's just throw out some fun dream matches or bookings that you would really love to see, whether it's just for a quick thing, we just kind of run through it really quickly. But like, do you have a dream match of like two wrestlers, could be from any era, could be from any company, that if you suddenly heard that they were facing off against each other, you'd immediately buy a ticket?
A match I would love to see, and maybe I'm just giving love to the short people, but I think a great match, even the build up, even the, the shoots, the talking and everything. I think AJ Lee and Alexa Bliss would just be a fantastic match. And I'm sitting there, they both have, you got the Twisted Bliss, and then, but you also have the diving crossbot, like they both have some similar moves. Yes. I would love to see like at the end, like AJ going for the Black Widow, and then and Bliss then doing her whole fake double jointed like thing where they think that she's injured and stuff, and then comes back and and wins. But they have they're similar yet they're different, and I think just it would be so entertaining. They both were great entertainers, and I think Bliss is one of the most talented females on the mic. And
I agree.
And AJ was great too. So that would be my dream match.
That immediately makes me think of like I don't know how it would be like a great frenemies and like feud where because they are very similar, just in terms of like the twisted nature of like AJ. Like AJ was so great at playing that character of the like mean girl essentially, and her own version of it, and Alexa does the same thing or did the same thing with the goddess character. So that would be interesting of like that frenemy sort of, they're best friends, but they secretly really hate each other. And that leads to like a whole match. Like it immediately makes me think of like Mickey and Trish. Obviously that was like the obsessed fangirl version, but like at the same time, like that sort of like story of like secretly really just hating each other's guts, but like working together so well as like a tag team. And then finally one of them turns on the other, or they turn on each other at the same time or something like that. And then you just get this like kind of like high school bullying sort of thing of stabbing each other in the back at every turn. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I also really love that Alexa Bliss has really gone into all of her different repackages and rebrands. Like she's very committed to all of those characters. So seeing possibly AJ Lee attempt to do a big shift in character for a feud with Alexa Bliss, like maybe this doll, the gimmick of Lily she could possess AJ Lee at a point in time, and we could see like a program with a possessed AJ Lee versus an Alexa Bliss that is more grounded and back to normal would be insane to me. And just kind of like centering a storyline around this like, supernatural element is something I think the WWE would do, but it would be really fun to see AJ Lee, who traditionally has a more grounded character and gimmick, kind of try to jump into something that is a bit more bizarre.
And I think another one, I had two. I thought of two when you guys asked me. I think another one, and I'll go back. This one kind of goes back a little bit, but I think just the arrogance of both of these guys, it would just kind of be fun to watch, and that would be Mr. Perfect and RVD against each other. I think that would be pretty fun to watch, and it's just very technical and everything. But I think it would be a great entertaining match for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love when you get matches of people who have mixed styles, because I think it's such an interesting dynamic of like what they did it recently in AEW of Powerhouse Hobbs and Dante Martin, where it's one's trying to ground the other for the entire time, and the other is just trying to get a combination and to start doing, his high fly moves and the spectacle and everything. But then Hobbs just buries him, and just keeps him down from being able to have any advantage. And like Mr. Perfect is in my opinion, one of the best. Like Brett is the best technician, but like Perfect was just so great at a combination of character and technical wrestling. And RVD is a larger than life character, but it can do all these incredible moves and athletics and acrobatics. That would be really cool. And yeah, they're both, I mean, maybe nowadays more so RVD's smug, but I remember when I was really into wrestling in high school, and RVD was like, he was the man, and like, I could see it starting to build, but it's the confidence, and they're both very confident men.
Yeah.
That would be cool. It'd be interesting to see what that storyline would have been. Possibly a best in the world rivalry sort of thing, like we're seeing a lot now with certain people. That would be quite interesting if it was a King of the Ring tournament. That would be quite interesting as well. Going to like a rubber match, an Iron Man, that'd be really sick.
Yeah. It'd also be cool to have Mr. Perfect kind of be on the tail end of his career and have RVD come in, and he's kind of this aloof kind of free spirit who takes like these very insane risks in the ring and kind of like is failing upwards as this man who has tried to craft the ideal career and he's the ideal ring technician. He's slowly losing these opportunities as this young kid is just doing the dumbest things, hitting the biggest moves and getting all of the fanfare, and having someone slowly sour just based on seeing that new person take away their shine is something that would be really interesting. And seeing RVD hit a rolling thunder on Mr. Perfect with a chair would be a beautiful.
It'd be funny. It'd be funny to see Mr. Perfect actually do like I can't remember if Mr. Perfect ever did like a hardcore match. I can't remember. That'd be really cool though.
Yeah.
Jeez, so much potential.
Seeing some modern gimmicks with classic wrestlers would just automatically be like an instant sellout.
Yeah, for sure. Billy, do you have, I mean, it's a very simple question, but do you have a favorite wrestler? Is there someone that's like your,
my favorite wrestler?
There's that question of like, who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers? My
favorite wrestler, and it was growing up, and I'll always answer the same answer, even though I've probably like followed other wrestlers. My favorite wrestler was JYD growing up. I still have the little plastic toy with the chain and everything.
Wow.
But I was a big JYD fan growing up. And then, you kind of like, you follow people throughout their careers and, but I like it all. I'm not really like, I'm more of, when this set came out I'm more of the set collector. I'm not necessarily the PC guy, to be honest with you. There are wrestlers that I do like that are nice. There are wrestlers that I've met that have been a complete turnoff to me, and I'm not that interested in seeing them again. But Virgil's still going to be at that table. I'm telling. No, just kidding. But yeah. So I mean, there's some of the like back in the day. I remember I was excited to meet for the first time. Like Kelly was I was just like, that was really cool. And this is like the Summer Slams when I would go in LA. So we were excited. The Bella Twins were cool. Alexa Bliss, and I'm liking everything they're doing with Britt Baker. I do like Cody Rhodes. I've met him and talked to him a couple times when I was marking out, and he actually sat and talked. I'm not going to say we sat and talked for like 10 minutes or anything, but we had a quick conversation about the industry, and he was really cool. And that's one of the things I'm excited about working with AEW is because I've met a couple of these guys, and I really liked everything they had to say. So I was kind of excited when they started the company. And then just watching watching the wrestling in AEW is just, it's another level right now. It's they're putting on wrestling matches as opposed to just all the drama. And then Goldberg goes out there and spears someone and the match is over. And it's just like, okay, I'm seeing stuff I haven't seen off of two ladders and this and that. It's been insane. And props to AEW. I'm so excited to be with this licensor.
Yeah, no, every week, every podcast episode, we at one point say how much we love AEW, even if we're booking a solely WWE feud, but it feels fresh. And like, that's really what it comes down to is a fresh feeling. And like, that was what excited us about the cards, especially was, it was something new to get into. It was something exciting. I've occasionally wanted to try to get into, collecting the WWE cards, but I just felt it was such a vast catalog that's like, I really don't know. I'm not up to date with it. I don't really understand it. It feels like such a big thing to get into, but this is a fresh start, and it's really exciting to like jump in and see everything. Probably never going to be able to collect everything, but that's okay.
We'll try our best. We'll try our best.
But it's just so fun and fresh, and that's what makes it exciting. And yeah, like we said, we're really pumped about the new sets. We're pumped to continue opening these this first edition set and seeing what epic cards that we can pull, and it's awesome seeing the community pull them as well, and everybody's sharing it, and everybody's really excited for everybody too. Like that's another cool thing that I've seen on Twitter and I've seen on Instagram is like people pulling epic autographs or memorabilia or any card and sharing their favorites, and people are in the comments and sharing it, being like, good for you, like that's awesome for you, I'm really excited for you. And because just like wrestling, fandoms and stuff can get toxic, but it's great to see that the AEW like trading card fans so far have all been really, really positive with each other, which is awesome to see.
Yep.
Yeah, we're really celebrating everybody's polls, and it's been really, really nice to have all of this social media stuff to share all of the different cards in the set that we might not see, and seeing a lot of like really detailed photography of these cards, especially the numbered ones, really made us excited to just continue to rip packs and to build our collection as well. And it's so funny when you're talking about AEW and you mentioned the two ladder cutter. I'm like, oh, that's a like a Wednesday night in action card. That's a top rope card waiting to happen. Oh, yeah. Just being able to visualize these like sensational spots and moves being immortalized in cards is very, very exciting for us.
Oh, for sure.
Well, Billy, thank you very much for joining us. As always, we close out our episodes with a match recommendation, and we always love to hear what our guests would recommend to our listeners or watchers. So is there a match that you have that is like either something right now that you're excited about, your favorite match of all time, or is something that you have to recommend to people to see to either get into wrestling, understand your love of wrestling, or is just something that's just an instant classic?
So I mean, I've said this before. I'm from Michigan, and Detroit, WrestleMania 3. You know, I know a lot of people probably say this, but you know, Hogan and Andre, that wasn't just a wrestling match. That was an event. That was the Super Bowl. That match was in the news, just like the regular news the next day. You know, that wasn't just, we got this big event, and like we just had, not Survivors. Why am I drawing a blank? You just had, a big pay-per-view, and
yes,
you didn't see it all over the place. Royal Rumble. Thank you. Yeah. You didn't see it all over the place. Maybe because Ronda came back and whatever, you saw Ronda Rousey's back, but no, this was like headline news. Hulk Hogan slams Andre the Giant, and it was just, and I was a younger kid there, so I was watching the cartoon. I watched watching them with the Goonies and singing with Cyndi Lauper, all that stuff. So that was just such an iconic moment, and something that really that's what kickstarted wrestling for a lot of people my age, and me personally, and it really kind of kickstarted wrestling too. Like it was fun, but man, that was a national, if not worldwide event.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a moment that you can kind of like. You don't even have to be a wrestling fan to know that moment. It's kind of ingrained into pop culture at this point, which is exciting. And also, as much as I will admit, like as much as we love like wrestling matches and the wrestling, and AEW's great at it right now with like the quality of the matches and stuff, but you can't fault that WWE has had moments, and like those moments stand out. Like it's like Hogan and The Rock stare down at WrestleMania. Like that is a moment.
Mankind and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Throwing him
off the cell. Yep.
Yep.
Like there are moments, and that it will stick in people's minds forever. And Hogan and Andre, that is the epitome of classic wrestling moments. So yeah, great suggestion for sure. Especially if you're a newer wrestling fan, or if you don't know too much of Golden Era or classic wrestling, it's like you might know this moment, but you should watch the match because that just makes it even better leading up to it. A great suggestion. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Book It, Vince. Billy, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. I had a blast, and hopefully, I think they just announced they changed the date for the Toronto Expo to June. But if you guys are, I'm sure there's going to be people with wrestling cards. If you guys are in Toronto, hopefully I'll be out in Toronto for the Spring Expo, the Spring Expo that they have. So
that would be exciting.
Feel free to stop by the Upper Deck booth. I'd love to, have a chat for sure.
Oh, hell yeah. That'd be awesome.
Amazing.
That'd be really, really cool. Is there anything that you want to promote? I don't know if usually the people that we have promote their own stuff, but I assume that you'll probably just promote the Upper Deck stuff. So of course, follow my TikTok.
I will say, so you guys have been, you've got a taste of the hobby boxes, and blasters are finally coming out. And I know it might be tough for you guys right now to even find the blasters. I'd say probably in a month or two, or you're going to see AEW on EPAC. And that's where you can go on there and you can be sitting, lying down in your bed. You can get packs of cards, and there's physical attributes to these cards. It's not just, it's not just like a digital app. Like the base cards are digital, but what you can do is you can stack the base cards to then get a physical rare parallel that's only EPAC exclusive. And what EPAC also does, it creates a great trading market for everybody and a great trading community. So if you have a PC guy, you can kind of trade base cards with base cards and get that parallel. And then all the inserts, they're all physical cards, the autographs, the memorabilia. And then all you do is you transfer that stuff over to checkoutmycards.com, and then they can mail those cards to you. So if you haven't been able to get any hobby boxes, if you haven't gotten those blasters, probably in about a month or two, it'll be out on EPAC. And so be on the lookout. It's upperdeckepac.com that you'll be able to do it and set yourself up on an account. If you have, that's how you got the CM Punk card and the Adam Cole, so it's the same website, and then you can buy packs of AEW here pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that in the future, and then get ready for Spectrum, hopefully in the summer.
That's really exciting. And yeah, I dabbled looking into that because as soon as I started looking into more, I saw, this EPAC thing, and that it can turn into physical cards is really exciting instead of just this, digital exclusive or something like that. Like, that's really exciting. And the fact that there are exclusives to that makes it even more interesting, and the potential there is really interesting. So of course, go check that out. And of course, follow Upper Deck Sports on all the social media. Cause not only have we been seeing updates as well, but they also, especially on Twitter, share tons of fan stuff, which is really, really cool. And not just wrestling, other sports as well. But the social interaction has been awesome on the social team, doing a great job. You can follow, of course, everything that we do here at Unknown Error by checking us out online at UE_films. You can follow myself personally on Twitter or Instagram at Barton_Minute. You can follow Mr. Anthony Hall
at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter.
And you can follow the podcast on Twitter at BookItVincePod. Thank you again, Billy. And huge shout out to Upper Deck for this episode and for everything they've done with us so far. And of course, go watch some wrestling. We'll check you out in the next episode. Keep being excellent.